Hey y'all! Welcome back to my channel. My name's Abby and this is Get Decked, where I'm all about cruising all the time. As some of you already know, my husband and I cruised on the Norwegian Prima to the Caribbean back in January of this year. If you're familiar with my channel, you already saw my video where I griped a lot about the Norwegian Prima. I did not like it very much, and if you want to know more about that, check out one of my earlier videos about all the things that I hated about the Norwegian Prima. Even though I really did not like it, I really enjoyed the trip, and there are a few things that I really did enjoy and appreciate aboard this vessel. Hold on to your hats, you're not going to want to miss it. If you're new here or not, please hit that like and subscribe button below so that you can keep up with the latest and greatest in the cruise world. Now, without further ado, in no specific order, all of the things that I loved about the Norwegian Prima. Number one on my list is going to be the luxurious touches everywhere. When I mean everywhere, I mean everything that you saw, everything that you touched was just cream of the crop. It's absolutely beautiful and just next level. Everything from the wallpaper to the carpet to the light fixtures, everything was so well thought out, and they just did a really great job making sure that everything you touched and everything that you saw was luxurious and just next level. Even the elevators were super sleek. In the walls of the elevators, they had these lights in the walls. It looked like stars that were lit up in the galaxy. It was super neat. Taking spot number 2 on my list, again, not in any specific order, is Cagney's Steakhouse. When we went on the Norwegian Bliss to Alaska in June of 22, we did not get to try Cagney's Steakhouse, and I was super disappointed. So when we went on the Norwegian Prima, I was very excited to make sure that we got a reservation at Cagney's. It may have been at 9:30 at night, but regardless, it was still amazing. I have to say that filet mignon that I ordered was probably one of the top 2 steaks that I've ever had in my life. It was so delicious. Our service was impeccable. Our waiter was just on top of it and super sweet, made sure that my wine was always filled, and checked on us multiple times to make sure that everything was great, not only with our food, but also with our experience. The restaurant in general was just super high class from start to finish, the entire experience. Even the furniture, the table decor, the way that the kitchen was set up and you could see it, everything was just absolutely wonderful. And the waiter actually asked us if we were there for any specific occasion or if our trip was for any specific occasion. And obviously our trip was for our 1-year wedding anniversary, so we did tell him that. And he made us a super special dessert plate that said happy anniversary and chocolate, and we got to pick which dish we wanted for dessert to send back to our room with us, which I thought was a really nice touch. Coming in spot number 3 on the things I loved about the Norwegian Prima, I think that Norwegian did an awesome job with the disembarkation process for the Norwegian Prima. I hope that they start to implement this on their other ships as well, but when we were on the Bliss, it definitely was not this efficient. When you're porting on your trip, whether you're going into Cozumel, you're going into Great Stirrup Cay, which is Norwegian's private island, regardless of where you're stopping, the disembarkation process when you're getting into port can be super chaotic. There's tons of people everywhere rushing to get off the boat, and it can just be really frustrating because everybody's going to the same place and everybody wants to get there as quick as possible, but let's just have a little bit of grace with each other and try and get this process done as smoothly and quickly as possible. Norwegian must have had a corporate meeting with Chick-fil-A and Dutch Brothers because that's how efficient the disembarkation process in the ports was for this specific trip. I think they got some tips from Chick-fil-A on how they moved that line as quickly and as efficiently as they did. Also in reference to getting on and off the boat when you are getting into port, there are some ports where the boat will not fit where the port docks are. So when this happens, the port has to send out some tendering boats, they call it tendering, to get us off of the boat and get us into the port. We experienced 2 ports on our last cruise to the Caribbean where we had to tender in. We had to tender in at Great Stirrup Cay, which is Norwegian's private island, and then also Georgetown and the Cayman Islands. Our boat was just too big and they could not accommodate that on the docks at their port. The way that the tendering process was done on the Norwegian Prima was just very efficient, and I was really pleased with how everything worked out. Prior to getting into port, you could walk around the ship and they have big tablets in the walls. They're mainly by the elevators. And they asked you to register for a tendering slot for when we got into port. When getting into port, the cruise director would come on the PA and he would announce tendering group 1, tendering group 2, tendering group 3. And you would then proceed down to either the theater or to the Commodore room, whichever they told you, and you would have a seat and wait for them to call you out, and they would take you down to deck 4 so that you could load the tender boat. There was no pushing, there was no shoving, there was nobody being rude. It was just super smooth and efficient, and I feel like they truly took the time to make this process as great of an experience as they could, given that they couldn't get the boat into port. Also, when you are booking your tender slots for the next morning, you can also request that you get on the first tender or an earlier tender because you have an excursion booked. If you have an excursion booked for 8:30 and you're not set to port until 8 a.m., obviously you need to be on that first tender boat so that you can make it to your excursion on time. If for whatever reason the boat is running behind and you don't dock by 8 a.m. or the port doesn't send out the tender boats in time for you to make it to your excursion, if your excursions are booked through Norwegian, the tour company will wait for you. That is one of the downsides to booking outside of Norwegian for your excursions. You absolutely can contact the tour companies directly and you will get a discount. However, they likely will not wait for you if you are late for the start time where you need to be. All that to say, I just really enjoyed the efficiency of the disembarkation process, getting into port and also leaving port. I think that they did a fantastic job, and that was definitely something that stood out to me on our trip to the Caribbean. Sliding into the number 4 slot for the things I loved about the Norwegian Prima, and the very long awaited favorite thing was our stateroom. These staterooms are amazing on the Norwegian Prima. The carpet, the light fixtures, the closets, the bedding, the curtains, the couch, literally everything was just absolutely gorgeous. Like other ships, the king-size bed can be split into 2 twins if you need it. Obviously, we didn't need that, but if you do need that, it's definitely an option. On the Norwegian Prima to the Caribbean, we booked a club balcony suite. We had a regular balcony suite when we went to Alaska on the Norwegian Bliss, but we decided to upgrade a little bit to the club balcony, and that balcony was actually quite a bit bigger than the standard balcony room balcony. The chairs that they put out on the balcony, there were 2 of them and a small table. The chairs were super comfortable and they were much bigger than we're used to on other ships. They also have the option where you can lay them back. They don't lay all the way back, but they do recline, which was super great for when I was reading or if the sun was in my eyes, I could lean back and get out of the sun. The staterooms are so much bigger on the Norwegian Prima than any other ship we've been on. Other ships, the room is super cramped. It's just my husband and I, but we still felt like we were on top of each other, and there's just really not much room to move around. I would say our room on the Norwegian Prima felt like it was double the size of the room that we had on other ships. So it's just a really, really great thing to have that extra space and you don't feel like you're on top of each other, which I very much appreciated. We went on this trip with our friends and we chose to have adjoining rooms, which is a really cool option, especially if you are also going with friends or if you have a bigger family and you need to split your family into 2 staterooms. It's a super awesome option. However, bear in mind that the door is not insulated very well. So you can hear conversations, you can hear other activities, you can hear just about everything through that door. Well, that about wraps it up with my favorite things about the Norwegian Prima. Will we sail it again? Likely not, but we did it. If you'd like the information on why we won't be sailing the Norwegian Prima again, you're more than welcome to check out one of my previous videos where you can listen to me gripe. Some of y'all like to go in the comments and call me a Karen, and that's okay. I just need you guys to know that these videos are purely my opinions. You can take them or leave them. Doesn't bother me. Either way, whatever, man. As always, if you found my video helpful or valuable in any way to include comedic relief, please hit that like and subscribe button below. When you do, you'll be keeping up on the latest and greatest in the cruise world. Until next time, I'm Abby, and this is Get Decked.